We have obviously numerous people. We have a list of 25 people that I actually had during my election. We have a very excellent list of great talented, highly educated, highly intelligent, hopefully tremendous people. It will be somebody from that list.
If the president nominates someone extraordinary like Neil Gorsuch again, I think it's very hard to stop that kind of a nomination. The American people were widely supportive of Neil Gorsuch, and Justice Gorsuch had bipartisan support in the Senate.
A big day with the announcement that Justice Anthony Kennedy, a swing vote in so many different cases, the U.S. Supreme Court, is retiring. Next month, he sent a letter to President Trump and then met with the president, saying this letter is a respectful and formal notification of my decision effective July 31st of this year to end my regular active status as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. For a member of the legal profession, it is the highest of honors to serve on this court. Please permit me by this letter to express my profound gratitude for having had the privilege to seek in each case how to best know, interpret, and defend the Constitution and the laws that must always conform to its mandates and promises. With that, let's bring in our panel. Charles Hurt, opinion editor for The Washington Times. A.B. Stoddard, associate editor at Real Clear Politics. And Jonathan Swan, national political reporter for Axios. A.B., I know this caught people up on the Hill by surprise. It caught a lot of people by surprise. It had been in the whispers in the wind, possibilities. But when it happened, there were a lot of people shocked up there.
Yes, good and bad shock. Republicans were exuberant. It was really hard to for the Senate Majority Leader to sort of stifle his smile when he was talking about it.
That is Senator McConnell, like, in party face mode.
It was really hilarious. And then for Democrats, this is a very, very tough day. One senator today, a Democrat, told me that the retirement of Kennedy, sort of putting it off and hoping to delay it, was one of the last prayers at night when the head hit the pillow. I mean, this is very, very, very profound for them about not just what the vote is going to do and how it will just turn out in the midterms, excite Republicans and conservatives, but really what it means about the impact of these decisions going forward.
Let alone the decision today about unions that really hits unions pretty hard, and also a big fundraiser for Democrats.
So President Trump has, I sort of think about it as two phases of the way he's thought about the court. The first phase is he has thought subsequently, and I think is correct, that it was a masterstroke, a political masterstroke of his to release that list, because it was really important to Republican-based voters. It energized them. And so he sees that list as partly responsible for his victory. So that's the first way he saw the court.
You're not wrong about that if you look at
Not wrong about that. But now he sees the real practical effects of the court. And he has learned that this week, and particularly over the travel ban, because you had liberal courts stymieing the travel ban, and this week it was upheld by the Supreme Court. So Trump now knows both the political force of this decision and the practical agenda force of this decision.
Charlie, to listen to Leonard Leo, who's advising President Trump on his next picks, and also advised on Neil Gorsuch, there's really
wrote the list.
And wrote the list. That's right.
Yeah.
There's really nothing Democrats can do other than trip up a potential candidate.
No, and I think that by any schedule, there ought to be someone confirmed by November. So we're looking at something that's going to probably happen before the election. What will be interesting to see is what will those senators from those states that obviously Trump has targeted, senators from states that overwhelmingly voted for Trump, is it going to make it very difficult for them to vote against a nominee by Trump? This is the sweetest of sweet spots for Trump. This is the thing that unites the establishment with the MAGA folks, and the greatest never Trumper has to admit that Neil Gorsuch was a huge success, and that the list that he picked from was a huge success, as Jonathan pointed out, and that if he will stick to this again because it's worked very well for him, and it's in all likelihood going to be another huge success.
So he's talking about the John Testers and the Heidi Heitkamps and the Claire McCaskells and the Joe Donnellys. They're going to be answering a ton of questions now in these races about how potentially they're going to vote. These are all the Democrats defending in red states, essentially, Trump states. over the next
predict
weeks?
minimum 2 of them vote for the nominee from that list.
Whoever it is.
Absolutely. Minimum 2, maybe more. But the idea of Senator Gillibrand and other liberal senators, prospective 2020 candidates, saying, "Oh, we're not going to, allow hearings." They don't run the Senate. No one cares if they show up at the hearing. Trying to grind the Senate to a halt to try to stop this they gave up the filibuster on Neil Gorsuch. They never should have. It was a huge mistake. They're just going to add insult to injury for themselves. It really is. It's going to be a mistake to pressure those senators, those Democrats you just named, who are up in cycle, by trying to shut the Senate down and stop this. It's not stoppable, and they need to take their toys and go home.
Here's the president and the leaders of the Senate.
We will begin our search for a new justice of the United States Supreme Court. That will begin immediately.
The Senate stands ready to fulfill its constitutional role by offering advice and consent on President Trump's nominee to fill this vacancy. We will vote to confirm Justice Kennedy's successor this fall.
Our Republican colleagues in the Senate should follow the rule they set in 2016, not to consider a Supreme Court justice in an election year.
Well, that wasn't the rule. It was a presidential election year. And, you go back to President Obama, who had a vacancy filled in August before a midterm election. There are obviously Democrats who will make the case that they should hold on until after the election, but they really don't have the backing.
People in this environment will use whatever tools they can to advance their agenda. There are no rules, there are no standards of principle anymore. It's just whatever you can do to eke out an advantage. So again, you said it best first. Their only tool is to try and prevent him getting the votes to get through. That's it. And the whole ball game are those 10 red state senators.